Hi,
Sorry,
Elon.
we actually just weirdly we had a power outage about 3 minutes before this call. My apologies. That's why I'm like bizarrely in the dark. I mean, I'm really working at the absolute most amount that I can work from morning till night, 7 days a week. This is not something I'd recommend, frankly. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
We do think that making a much more affordable vehicle would make a lot of sense, and we should do such. It's kind of a no-brainer to enable a longer video on Twitter, and also enable content creators to make a living with content that Twitter really needs to give a revenue share to content creators in order for them to make a living creating content and having that content be on Twitter.
Just in case you needed any further proof that Elon Musk is absolutely mental, while currently working about 120 hours a week and barely sleeping, is also still following through on prior commitments to make appearances, do talks, and participate in interviews. If I were working this hard, I'd be crying in the corner like a little bitch and complaining. Meanwhile, here's Elon Musk spitting facts, sharing more juicy details about Tesla, their future plans, products, and loads more. Remember, this is a guy who is currently literally sleeping in Twitter HQ, not leaving until a dumpster fire is extinguished. So while Elon Musk is busy working 120-hour weeks and you're busy pretending to work from home and actually watching dickheads on YouTube, or if you're really sneaky, somehow managing to do it in the office, and I'm just busy making exclusive content for Patreon. Yep, posted another 20-minute video to Patreon this morning. You definitely don't want to miss that one either. If you're not already a member, you can join with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment. And yep, one more time, price is increasing. Entry-level Patreon is going up on the 20th of November. So if you're a tight ass and want to lock in the current lower pricing, join before the 20th of November. And if you're really generous and want to donate a little bit more and pay more than you needed to, you can wait till after the 20th of November. I'll be happy either way. Click the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment to join.
Elon, I know you are a hard worker, but with a lot of headlines that you make lately, if I were you, jump on a plane and fly to Bali and kind of like hide a little bit or relax. Why don't you do that?
I mean, that sounds fantastic. But my workload has recently increased quite a lot. I mean, oh man. I have too much work on my plate, that is for sure.
How to say you're suffering an incredible amount of self-inflicted pain that no other human on the planet could endure without actually saying it. This guy's nuts. I mean, he's actually fucking nuts. I've worked 100-hour weeks and I nearly fucking died. It was not sustainable. 80 hours is about my breaking point, and that's insane. To be anything above 80 hours a week sustainably, I do not know how any human on the planet does that. Then again, I am a gigantic fucking pussy.
I think the combination of the youth, energy, large population, a lot of resources, I think the future is extremely exciting for Indonesia. Yeah, I'm I guess bullish on Indonesia, if you will. I think it's a very, very exciting, bright future.
In before Tesla starts mining nickel in Indonesia. Now, this obviously isn't confirmed, but for those who don't know, Indonesia has a metric shit ton. In fact, many tens, if not hundreds of thousands of metric shit tons of nickel. That's from the metric system. If you guys are on Imperial and you're not sure what a shit ton is, it's a lot. It's always worth following the breadcrumbs.
So there was a thought, I think we interacted a little bit in Boca Chica, Twitter TV, because over here, information is being disseminated using free-to-air TV antenna to 17,500 islands. User-generated content, short videos, trending topics. Is it a good idea or bad idea?
No, I think that's a great idea. Twitter for sure, I think needs to do a lot more on video, and it's kind of a no-brainer to enable a longer video on Twitter, and also enable content creators to make a living with content that Twitter really needs to give a revenue share to content creators in order for them to make a living creating content and having that content be on Twitter.
Loads to discuss. First of all, no-brainer is an understatement. I have no idea what the morons at Twitter have been doing for the last decade. They haven't even attempted to compete with YouTube or TikTok. What the fuck have they been doing? Oh, I'm just kidding. They've been interfering in the democratic process. Second, this is a huge opportunity. And let me explain why. Currently, YouTube has relatively insane policies censoring certain ideas, opinions, and controversial statements. There are certain rules on YouTube, meaning that if you say something that's true is true, you can get banned from the platform. There are also certain rules that if you say something that isn't true, you can get banned from the platform. Think about that for a moment. I'm always playing a mental game of chess. Every video I make, I have to think, hang on a minute, is this going to get me cancelled? How far can I push it? By the way, that's a special shout out to my Patreon content where I can be a little bit more unfiltered. This is a problem. So here's what's going to happen. Intelligent content creators will almost immediately begin cross-posting their YouTube content to Twitter. Same content. Now the users have the option. You view it on Twitter or do you view it on YouTube? This is a no-brainer. And content creators like myself, especially, who are always on the edge, that close to getting cancelled, point out one too many facts of biology, ask one too many questions, cite one too many scientific studies, next minute, deplatformed. Creators like me are going to have an additional incentive to drive their audience to Twitter. I'm literally talking to you guys and girls. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not going to do some absent father shit and just leave the family tomorrow and stop posting on YouTube, period. That wouldn't be very cool. But I'm going to do my best to drive as many of you guys and girls as I possibly can over to Twitter. I don't really care how the monetization works. I care about being able to more freely share my thoughts, opinions, and ideas without constant low-level fear and anxiety. Or shit, is this the one that's going to get me cancelled? YouTube will deserve everything they get in terms of lost business due to their insane censorship policies. Yes, I am talking to you, YouTube. I also suspect that Elon is going to compete fairly directly with Patreon, allowing users to either pay per video, which Patreon allows as well, or to subscribe for monthly exclusive content from Twitter creators. This is something I'll also be doing, and no, it doesn't mean I'm going to be abandoning Patreon. It just means I'm going to be making even more content every fucking day. I've got a very important question to ask, so please let me know in the comments below, and I really do implore everyone watching, I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this one. In the future, when I'm posting these videos to both YouTube and Twitter, where will you be watching them? You're going to immediately jump ship to Twitter? Are you so familiar with YouTube that it's going to be very difficult for you to even imagine watching content over on Twitter? Or are you somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments below, and I really do mean that. I'd love to hear what you guys and girls think. And spoiler alert, I've already told you guys my plan. Cross-post, YouTube and Twitter, same content. I'll also have exclusive content available for paid members on Twitter in the future when that's a possibility. And it'll be exclusive. It won't be cross-post from Patreon. It'll be exclusive to Twitter, just like my Patreon content is exclusive to Patreon. And eventually, the hope is that the majority of the YouTube audience migrates over to Twitter. I'm sick of having to dance around insane censorship policies every fucking day.
Great to hear that. About Tesla, now the world is decoupling, Elon, as you know it. And of course, with the conflict, Russia-Ukraine, it will make it even worse. This decoupling also make the electric vehicle supply chain separated within the East and West. It looks like it. So they are making separate supply chain. Now, you are a global company, Tesla is, global customers, but gigafactories in China, Germany, and Austin that I thank you for hosting us in. How do you navigate through all of this?
Well, I have to say it's with great difficulty. I mean, I'm really working at the absolute most amount that I can work from morning till night, 7 days a week. This is not something I'd recommend, frankly. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. More proof that this guy is a fucking alien. Now, I know most people watching will have never worked a single 80-hour week, let alone a 90 or 100-hour week or 110, 120-hour week. I can tell you, everyone has a breaking point. Such sustained output, redlining, constantly, just sleeping enough to survive, expending all of your mental energy day after day after day after day without rest is extremely bad for one's mental health. I can speak from personal experience. What's that saying? If you're going through hell, keep going. Hopefully, Elon makes it out the other side.
But it is, and I'm just looking at this video and it's so bizarre.
Well, you look like you're in a dark place.
I'm sitting here in the dark, surrounded by candles.
I know. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
So that's the beauty of being in equator, Elon. When it's dark there, it's bright here.
Really?
You know, Indonesia has this ambition to be electro-state as opposed to petro-state. In the past, petro-state, but today, electro-state.
Just for those of you who live in the only country on the planet, the United States of America, you might be confused. Petrol state, what's he's talking about petroleum, aka gasoline. Same shit, basically.
Yeah.
So we want to be the Saudi Arabia of decarbonization. We have peatland, mangroves, tropical forests, carbon dioxide. We also have critical battery materials. We also have potential for renewable energy. How should Indonesia contribute to this stabilizing the EV ecosystem, in your view?
Yeah, well, I think Indonesia's making a significant contribution already with the production of critical ingredients for batteries. So nickel, as you mentioned, is a key ingredient in lithium-ion batteries, especially for long-range vehicles. A lot of times people hear the word like lithium-ion battery, but lithium is actually only a few percent of the battery weight, whereas nickel is actually the majority of the battery weight in long-range vehicles, and which will also be essential for aircraft, which require a high energy density battery pack. So, and then Indonesia is also doing a lot of renewable energy generation. So So the combination of sustainable mining, renewable energy generation, and just overall, sort of advancements in internet connectivity and education, I think Indonesia is going to make a great contribution to the world.
Great, thank you. Now, a lot of developing countries are already in G20, like Indonesia, today hosting India, South Africa. Any thoughts about making a little bit more affordable but still good quality Tesla? Maybe we call it Model I, Indonesia, India.
Yeah, I can't speak too much about the future Tesla product development, except to say that we do think that making a much more affordable vehicle would make a lot of sense, and we should do such.
This shit's so funny. I mean, we all know it's coming. We all know a more affordable Tesla is on the cards. Tesla won't produce it until they need to, but until they need to, which is not now because their wait times are still fucking ridiculous. The design's pretty much done, as far as I'm aware. How would I know that? No comment. Elon doesn't want to steal any thunder from the big reveal. And then there's the whole, if you tell customers out loud and announce a product years before it's going to be available, what do you think happens to customers who were currently keen on a Model 3 or Y? You learn about a much more affordable Tesla that'll be available that'll also suit their needs. My suspicion is that Tesla is going to announce this vehicle officially, specs, price, availability, etc., 2 milliseconds before they begin production. And obviously that's an exaggeration, but you get the point, right? There's going to be a very, very small lead time between product announcement and production ramp. Leave your guess in the comments below. When will Tesla's more affordable vehicle first be announced and enter production?
Great to hear that. So let's go to SpaceX. So when we went to Boca Chica to see your facility, impressive facility, by the way, right? First, I have never been to Starbase, but I overheard some engineers saying that maybe the best place to launch these rockets are from the equator. So
yeah, it's true.
It's true, right? Indonesia has
actually like the best would be like a really tall mountain at the equator.
Okay, mountains on the equator. Got it. Indonesia has 5,000 kilometers of equator, and in fact, our new capital is going to be on the equator. Should we be talking more about launching pads of SpaceX being in Indonesia? And maybe also you can launch some Starlinks. We need some connectivity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think long term it would make a lot of sense to have launch platforms around the world. And I think you could actually even have a situation where you travel by rocket from one part of the world to the next, because then you can travel at over 20 times the speed of sound. So for a rocket to get to the complete other side of the world in 45 minutes, and half sort of to most places in about 20 minutes. So I think that this would really open up the world if you could travel conceivably to anywhere in the world in less than an hour.
He is, of course, referring to Starship Earth to Earth. By the way, most of you guys won't know this, including my Patreon supporters, but one of the very first exclusive videos I ever posted on Patreon was a special on Starship Earth to Earth transportation. Check it out.
By the way, Elon, over here in Indonesia, you are not called Elon Musk. You are called Mas Elon.
Okay.
Mas is brother.
Okay, cool.
Brother Elon.
Thank you.
So Mas Elon, we threw some questions on social media asking, what would you ask Elon? You happen to see him. And maybe you have heard this question, but why do you talk so much about sending people to Mars? Probably more than half of the people on Earth still think that the world is flat.
Yeah, well, I think it's an exciting future if you can imagine like where we're a spacefaring civilization and are a multi-planet species and ultimately out there among the stars. And that's just, I find that to just be an incredibly exciting, inspiring future, and to think that one day that such things might happen. And you know, the world of course will always have problems, and that we need to solve the problems of Earth. And I think 99% of our effort should be on solving the problems of Earth. And I think 1% of our effort should be on being a spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species, because that's just incredibly exciting and inspiring. And there need to be things. Life can't just be about solving problems. There've got to be things that inspire you and that make you glad to be alive and happy to wake up in the morning.
From SpaceX, going back to Earth, Boring Company, we had a chance to go to your facility in Las Vegas. Indonesia and a lot of developing countries, and even developed countries, have a lot of traffic. Are you thinking to do projects of Boring Company in developing country cities, especially maybe using electric buses, so you can solve two things at the same time, and CO2 emission?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like my joke about tunnels is that tunnels are underappreciated. I mean, it's not the best joke in the world, but I think the only answer that I can see for congestion in cities is tunnels. I think flying cars are, I think because of the fact that they generate a lot of noise and a lot of wind, and there's always some possibility that it will fall on your head, and it certainly would not be good for privacy if flying cars were flying over your house all the time. I think, on the other hand, that tunnels do not suffer from any of those issues, and So like you can think of flying cars as like 3D above ground, and tunnels are like 3D below ground. And we have some of our first tunnels with electric vehicles operating in them in Las Vegas. I'd encourage anyone who visits Las Vegas to try them out. And it sounds so simple, but electric vehicles in tunnels are absolutely an answer to the worst possible congestion of any city, because you can go as many layers of tunnels deep as you would like until the traffic congestion is addressed.
The right questions to ask for the millennials and Gen Zs. We have 70% of the Indonesian population. They are in that category. What are the great questions to ask today, looking at the next 20 years? Because in 20 years, Elon, Indonesia wants to be in golden era in 2045, 100 years of the independence. What are great questions?
You asked me what are the great questions to ask?
What should be they ask? What they should be asking?
What do you think about that?
Well, we are not millennials and Gen Z, so that's okay, I guess.
Well, I think one of the questions to ask is, what future do you want? Like, what is the good future? I mean, I think one where civilization is growing, and the scope and scale of consciousness are growing along with it, is a great future. Obviously one where we transition to sustainable energy, because the counterpoint is unsustainable energy. The faster we can transition to a sustainable energy economy, the better. But we will transition to a sustainable energy economy. It's just a question of how long it takes. And then I think just furthering human knowledge so we can understand the nature of the universe and our place in it, and how we got here, and the meaning of life. And as I said earlier, going and exploring the star systems, and maybe we'll find alien civilizations or discover alien civilizations that existed millions of years ago, may no longer exist, but we see the ruins of ancient civilizations. I think that would be incredibly interesting, just to go out there and explore the galaxy.
You are a true global citizen, born and raised in South Africa, made it well in America, becoming global entrepreneurial hero. We are here in Southeast Asia. So what should the next and maybe better Elon Musk of the East be focusing on in the next 10 years? Because a lot of people in this room, they want to be Elon Musk of the East. Why not, right?
Well, I mean, I think you be careful what you wish for. I'm not sure how many people would actually like to be me. They would like to be what they imagine being me, which is not the same as actually being me. I mean, the amount that I torture myself is like next level, frankly.
Now, I know this comes across as kind of funny, but it's actually very serious, and there's something about Elon Musk's psychology. It's almost as if he needs to suffer. He needs an incredible burden on his shoulders, otherwise he just can't function. Of course, I could be wrong, but I mean, look at the last 20 plus years of this guy's life. Sacrificing everything, his health, relationships, his mental well-being, working his dick off on important, meaningful missions. He's absolutely a sucker for punishment. I'm way too much of a pussy to be working even 1/4 as hard as Elon Musk, hence just making YouTube videos out of my mum's basement. Again, nice basement, mum. Thanks. This is one of the reasons I most admire Elon Musk. His willingness to consciously load his back with almost unbearable loads, and as soon as he gets the slightest amount of relief, find some other project to throw on his back as well. He's fucking mad. I suspect in Elon's mind, he's always thinking about what is the maximum amount of good I can do, and he will suffer as much as he needs to do as much good as he possibly can. I don't think a single other person watching this YouTube channel could say the same. If they could, they'd not be watching me on YouTube, they'd be doing something more important.
I mean, I think like if anyone who does something like useful, like builds products or provides services that are of use to our fellow human beings, is doing a good thing. So that's I'll just say, like, maximize your usefulness and value to the rest of humanity.
Hard to argue with that. And I can guarantee 99.99999% of people on Earth today who aren't very happy, they're depressed, they're sad, they hate their lives, they hate themselves. I guarantee, almost without exception, these people know deep down they're not really doing a whole lot to add any value. And don't get me wrong here, there are many ways you can add value on planet Earth. One of the most obvious examples, which is for some strange reason being demonized by a lot of people today, is being an incredible stay-at-home mum who dedicates herself to being an awesome mother and an awesome wife, raising her family. Same can be true of being a great father. Being great parents in general is one of the best things you can do. There's a million different ways to positively impact the world. And I think if more people spent more time trying to think about how can they positively impact other people and add a bit of value, either a lot of value at a small scale or a little bit of value at a large scale, or even better, a lot of value at a large scale, there'd be a lot more people who felt fulfilled. Something to consider. And don't forget to let me know in the comments below. In terms of content, will you guys be happy to migrate over to Twitter, where I'm going to be cross-posting my YouTube videos in the future? Or would you prefer to stay on YouTube and watch them? Just for the record, I'm not asking you guys to tell me what I should do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm just curious what you're going to do. And remember to join Patreon before the 20th of November to lock in current pricing, or if you're really generous, you can wait until after the 20th of November and pay more. I'll be happy to take your money either way. In the last 2 days alone, I've posted over 40 minutes of exclusive content, which means if you're not on Patreon, you're missing out on about half the content I'm creating every day. And if you made it this far, you obviously enjoy this content. Either that or you're a moron who watches content they don't enjoy. And if that's the case, I mean, dude, what are you doing with your life? Anyway, see you over on Patreon. Love ya.